All right. Y'all want to hear a story? I haven't done one of these in a while, and I apologize, but let's get a good story out for this one. Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, I am about to do something that no Storytime animator has ever done in the history of YouTube. I am going to tell a story of something that happened while I was in school. So in 7th grade, in an effort to not be a complete and utter loser, my mom forced me to do something with my life. And that included extracurricular activities. Okay, like, I really enjoyed being young and not having any responsibilities whatsoever. A thing that I did not put up an effort in. That would be 7th grade football. So the very first practice that I was in, I was like, "Oh, look, all of my friends from class are here. We're gonna bool. We're gonna be booling during football practice." And it's like, no, no, we're not going to be, because there was a bunch of guys there that I knew, but like didn't like know personally because they were assholes, and I didn't want to associate with them because they were assholes. And like, I feel like football is the kind of sport that is like a flame, a big bright light, a big bright ball of energy that just attracts moth after moth that's been rolling around in pig shit, Because there were a lot of trash fucking people on that. I'm not even talking about their ability to play, because we fucking sucked. We went 0-4. We actually came close to winning one game, though. I have to give the team credit there. We almost won that one single solitary game. But, anyway. Because football, is a sport that's going to attract people to like to beat the shit out of each other. And like me as a pacifist, as a living, breathing, like I didn't get my anti-war stance by just watching, the Democratic debates, I'm an anti-fucking interventionalist in real life. If I can diffuse a situation without having to resort to fisticuffs, that will be my preferred solution. And it was no different back in the year 2009 when that was 10 years ago, dude. I'm so old. It was no different back then, so I had to be diplomatic about shit. Well, the thing is that literally the opposite of diplomacy is what you get in football, and I was wholly unprepared for that. So, football practice, I fucking hated it. So there was like a training boot camp that you had to do like the week before, and I didn't actually do that because I didn't know that I was playing football until like the week school started. So there was like, you have to sign up in advance and you have to do the training camp. And it's like, bitch, I'm here, bitch. Like, what the fuck? Why do you have to be such a fucking pompous asshole about this shit? I'm here. I'm participating. And like the best part is that like most of the people who actually did the training camp, they quit before like the second game of the year. And it's like, bitch. And I stuck out through the entire fucking thing because I was forced to. Had I had the choice, I would have quit week 1. However, I was forced to continue. The people who actually did the training camp were viewed favorably by the coaches. They were viewed favorably by the coaches, like the most. And like if they wanted to, sit out the last 10 minutes of practice, they'd fucking let them. They'd fucking let them. And then make everyone else do like 20 laps. And it's like around the entire fucking football field track, It's just like, fuck you. And we were also, the people who didn't do training camp were also the very last to pick their number and their actual practice gear. And you see, the problem with that is that you get the raggedy ass bullshit. And I was tiny. I was a tiny ass bitch when I was a youth. I was fucking puny. And I still was up at 7th grade football because, I guess my body decided to wait until I was, fucking 14 to actually hit my growth spurt. So, when they decided to put me as a lineman, looking back on that shit, it's like, okay, I understand. I am completely useless because I hated football practice so much because you actually had to exert yourself. And I was not having that shit. Literally, my purpose as a lineman was to just be a distraction for the other players because they knew that I was not fucking doing anything. So if they could just push me over and get that satisfaction out of it, you know, and like literally, I remember one practice where the entire fucking thing, like we played maybe 20-ish scrimmage plays, and I'm pretty sure literally every single one of them, the guy that they matched me up against, he just pushed me over every single time, just flat on my fucking ass. I remember when I was doing that practice, I wanted to whack the guy in the fucking balls. Cause I was like, I'm sitting there and like I've been knocked on my ass for the 15th time and it's like, I get it. I fucking get it, dude. You don't need to knock me over every fucking time. You don't need to do this. I pose no threat whatsoever to the quarterback, all right? Why are you doing this to me, dude? Like, I just wanted to kick him in the fucking balls, but I was a pacifist, you know, so I didn't. Looking back, I should have. Maybe that would have actually given me some cred. But unfortunately, I had absolutely no cred whatsoever, and still don't to this day, to be perfectly honest. I hated football so much that my sole objective in life was to get out of it by any means necessary, all right? Because, like, there was one day when school was called off early because of a blizzard, and, like, I was thinking, okay, this is a good excuse to miss practice because, of course, they're going to have football practice when we're called out of school. Obviously. I mean, it's not like, you know, people need to, you know, not get caught in blizzards and, like, live on the school for an entire night, you know. They still forced them to do fucking practice that day. You know, this was like, and I was like, nah, I'm just gonna fuck off. And like the coach didn't, I remember the coach not giving a shit. I remember him not giving a shit because he was like, you know what? He showed back up this week and we really have no use for him whatsoever. So fuck it, really. He was just, you know, he pulled me aside, you know, and he was like, you know, I'm disappointed that you didn't get to practice yesterday and you're trying to lie your way out of it. And, you know, it's just like, I expect better out of you. And it's like, do you really? Do you really expect better out? I don't even want to fucking be here. From the fucking day that you made us pad up and practice, I did not want to be here anymore. I begged my parents to let me stop, just to get me out of this hell. And they're like, no. And it's like, why, dude? What did I do to deserve this? So, I did not want to do football. And I knew that there was one way, one surefire way, that would get me out of doing football. And that is to have a deficiency. If you have a D in any class, you're not allowed to participate in the actual game. You still have to show up to the games, but you're just like not padded up and you're just sitting on the sideline like a bitch, you know? But that was good enough for me. That was good enough for me because the thing that I didn't want to do the most was participate in a game. That's what I didn't want to do because like whenever the game started, like they put me in for maybe 5 plays at most every game, and it's like even that was like, no, I don't want to be a part of this. And like even the coach is like, yeah, we're not gonna do that. My biggest fear of all was that after we were gonna go to an away game, right? And like it was the one away game of the season, and I remember the coach specifically saying, when we get done with the game, you have to use the showers. Because, like, I guess if you don't use the showers, like, the thing smells, like, the bus ride in the back is going to smell like a fucking dirty ass. I don't even want to describe what it would smell like. I didn't want to do that. Because I didn't want to get naked. All right? I remember, like, in 3rd grade, we went swimming for something. I think it was, like, an after-school program that we went swimming. And like the thing is, I used like everyone else, like all the other lads are just stripping down, running around naked because they find it funny, and I'm just trying to hide away in like the bathroom stall. And it's like I remember specifically one guy was like, "Come on, get out of there! I need to piss." And it's like, dude, I'm changing, and like everyone else is just butt ass naked running around this locker room, and it's like, I can't imagine if someone walked in on that shit, like they just fucking, I don't know. And I'm just hiding in the bathroom stall trying to not lose any dignity or whatever. You know, I don't know if I was sensitive. I don't know if I didn't want, you know, other people seem a dick. I don't know. I don't know what my point was. The point is that I did not want that shit during football season. So I actually managed to weasel my way out of it. Like, I just changed into pedestrian clothes and I just said fuck it and just walked out of the locker room and I went back to the bus. And like, they didn't give a shit. Like, no one gave a shit. And it's like, sweet, I can live with this. And that's how I got out of using the showers because I didn't use them after practice. Like, there were some guys that actually used the shower after practice. And it's like, I wouldn't do that. You could not pay me money to do that. Okay, maybe you could have paid me money to do that, but would that count as prostitution? Going against your own visceral instinct to not get naked among other men? That visceral instinct that you have as a prepubescent child, Would there have been enough money in the world to actually make me do that? Probably. I probably would have done it for $30. You know what? I'm just going to put that out there. $30 would have been my baseline. Can we stop talking about naked children? So let's get back to the thing that I was talking about, the deficiency thing. I actually managed to get a D in English for like a day, but then like the teacher put in a assignment and then it went back up to a C. I can't even fucking bring myself to do bad in school to just get out of fucking practice, to get out of this bullshit. Like, I couldn't even do that. I didn't even have, I was such a pussy ass bitch that I didn't even have the mental strength to just not, just to fail English class so I could get out of doing the thing that I hate the most. I didn't even have the backbone to do that. Like, that's fucking pathetic. Dude, honestly. How much of a bitch was I back then? Dead ass. If anyone that went to high school with me watches this video, comment why I was such a bitch. Seriously. That's pathetic. I don't think there was a single moment in 7th grade football that was actually a deadline positive. When I did flag football, I sucked ass. I was terrible. But I got 2 touchdowns. I got 2 touchdowns in flag football. That's an accomplishment, dude. However, I'm trying to think back. I can't think of anything that was actually good about doing 7th grade football. I found no positives from this apart from just being done. When it was over, when the final game was finally fucking over. That was the best part, is just it ending. I can't think of any other positives from that entire experience. Even the whole, no, don't give up. You're not going to be a quitter on my watch. It's no. I quit before the season even started. Just because I didn't leave, just because I didn't actually not show up to practice, more than once, just because I didn't stop going to practice and stop playing the games doesn't mean that I didn't quit. I quit before I even started. I gave up before I even, made my first scrimmage practice. I was done before that. So I know. When you say that I didn't quit, that's a lie. I did quit. In fact, I don't even think I started to begin with. Because, we started out with around 21 players, and I think we ended the season with maybe 13, 14 at most. Because a bunch of guys just straight up fucking quit, I wish I did. The games that we actually played, we got blown out in the first game. We got blown out in the second game. The third game, we actually led for a very short period. But then they won on, a touchdown in the fourth quarter, And then in the fourth and final game, we got absolutely fucking murdered. So that was fun. I really didn't learn anything about myself playing football, apart from the fact that I have absolutely no athletic ability whatsoever and never will. I didn't get anything out of it except for horrible memories of freezing my ass to death in practice, getting fucking murdered by people twice my size because I didn't hit puberty until 14. I was lucky though, because one motherfucking guy on the team was slower than I was. And he was like, 500 pounds. And he was only slightly slower than me. But I was still faster than him. So I guess in the end, I was better than one fucking person. He became my college roommate, and I actually think he's engaged. Oh my fucking God, I'm so old. Yeah, I remember seeing on Facebook a couple of days ago he's engaged, and I'm thinking, dude, just stop. Just stop, man. But he deserves it. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. I'm just faster than him. That's it. I just have more stamina than he does. That's the only difference. Wink, wink on the stamina part. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's very disrespectful. That is very disrespectful. So yeah, I don't even want to make this a story time animation because this is like 25 minutes long raw, and I really don't want to make a 25-minute long video, but I feel like everything that I said could actually be, put into the video, so that's fucking great. So that's just going to be a very long editing. This is going to be probably a two-parter. I don't fucking know. Maybe I'll do maybe I think I might look back in all of my school years and just conjure up some stories from K to 12 and maybe do some college stuff because I had a very boring college life. I went to one party in total. Yep, so that was good. I had a very good time in school. But anyway, this has been Kamikaze Games making another Storytime animation. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you are not as dead inside as I am right now. Thinking back on how pathetic you were as a child. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye! You want to know my absolute number one favorite memory from football? Because, I would always bring it up to my parents hey, can I please stop? Please, let me stop. Take me out of this. And every single time, one of my parents would always say, you know what? Someday, when you're older, you're going to look back on this and you're gonna wish you could do it again. And it's the thing is that when that statement came out of my parents' mouth, I honestly did consider that back when I was in 7th grade. I actually did take a second and think, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, someday, long into the future, after my 3 months expense-free paid vacation in purgatory is actually over, that I might think back and have wanted to do better. And I remember one very specific practice. I remember the time, I remember what I was doing, I remember the temperature in the air, and I remember what was happening. I was carrying some dumb shit to the practice field, and I was just dragging it behind me, and I was freezing cold, and I was just looking around at all of the other kids that were in agony, and I remember thinking back to one of my parents saying that to me, and I specifically remember going to myself, there will never be a time in my life that I ever want to go back to doing this. I do not ever want to even come close to doing anything like this ever again. I remember saying that to myself. And you know what the craziest thing is? Is that I have recently thought about, you know what? Maybe if I'd actually, had the right mentality, if I actually, tried as hard as I could to get in shape, and I actually tried every waking moment of this, if I actually got my head into the game, if I actually got into the mentality of beating the shit out of other kids, if I actually, was able to channel some sort of, inner small dog syndrome and actually lay waste to the football field, maybe I could have turned this experience around. Maybe I could have actually made something out of my younger self. I could have been a sports star. I could have been the creme de la creme of the high school when I actually got to that point. If I had just applied myself in high school. And yet I always think back to that one specific day when I was dragging some dumb shit out to the practice field. And I told myself, no, I will never, ever wish that I had a second chance, that I could go back and do this. And then I think to myself, you know what? Maybe after all, I don't want to go back to 7th grade football. Maybe I could have tried cross country in 8th grade instead. Or I could have, skipped a year and just done like some other dumb shit and then came back to sports in 9th grade. But no, I never, ever wanted to put myself through that living fucking hell that was 7th grade football. Never again. Ever.